Welcome, dear listeners, to another episode of our True Crime Podcast. Today we dive into one of the darkest and most enigmatic cases in the history of crime. This is a story that has fascinated detectives, writers, and filmmakers for decades. We will talk about Elizabeth Short, better known as the Black Dahlia, a young woman with big dreams whose life was brutally cut short. Her death remains unsolved to this day. We will delve deeply into Elizabeth's life, from her childhood in Boston to her tragic end in Los Angeles. We'll explore the work of Detective Harry Hansen, who led the investigation, and uncover key witnesses and prime suspects. Together, we will immerse ourselves in the atmosphere of 1940s Los Angeles, a city of contrasts where Hollywood glamour meets the dark alleys of crime. Who was Elizabeth Short? Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. She was the second of 5 children. Her father, Cleo, abandoned the family during the Great Depression, faking his death in the process. Elizabeth and her mother, Phoebe, were left to fend for themselves, a loss that left a lasting impression on Elizabeth. She often sought attention and validation from men as a result. As a teenager, Elizabeth struggled with health issues, including asthma and bronchitis, which forced her to spend winters in warmer climates. A move to Florida marked the beginning of her fascination with the American South. Later, at the age of 19, she relocated to California, dreaming of becoming an actress. Elizabeth was stunning, fair-skinned, with jet-black hair and striking blue eyes. Her beauty captured the attention of many, and she seemed to enjoy being in the spotlight. However, life in Los Angeles wasn't easy. She worked odd jobs, frequently changed residences, and struggled to find her place in the city of dreams. Friends described her as kind but lost, often relying on others for financial and emotional support. The final days. Elizabeth was last seen alive on January 9, 1947. She was with Robert Manley, an acquaintance who dropped her off at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Elizabeth was supposed to meet her sister there, but that meeting never happened. 5 days later, on January 15th, her mutilated body was discovered in a vacant lot in the Leimert Park neighborhood. Manley, initially a suspect, recalled that Elizabeth appeared calm though somewhat pensive. The police interrogated him extensively, but his alibi was solid. The final days of Elizabeth's life remain one of the greatest mysteries of this case. The discovery of the body. It was a sunny but chilly day when a woman walking with her child noticed what she initially thought was a mannequin. As she approached, she discovered a horrifying truth. Elizabeth's body had been severed at the waist. Her skin was pale, as though the body had been meticulously cleaned. Her face bore a grotesque smile carved from ear to ear, known as the Glasgow smile. The precision of the mutilation suggested a perpetrator with surgical or medical expertise. Additionally, the lack of blood at the scene indicated that the body had been moved there. The police quickly realized they were dealing with one of the most brutal murders in the city's history. Detective Harry Hansen. Detective Harry Hansen was a seasoned investigator known for his determination and analytical mind. From the outset, he knew this case would be exceptionally challenging. There were no witnesses, and the crime scene appeared to have been carefully orchestrated. Hansen spent weeks interviewing Elizabeth's acquaintances, trying to piece together her final days. One of the first clues was a series of letters sent to local newspapers by a person claiming to be the killer. These letters included personal belongings of Elizabeth, such as her identification and photographs. They were signed "The Avenger of the Dahlia." However, handwriting analysis yielded inconclusive results. Hansen and his team also examined Elizabeth's relationships with men. She was known to be flirtatious but avoided serious commitments. Many of her friends described her as a lonely soul desperately searching for love and stability. Witnesses and suspects. Dozens of witnesses were questioned. Among the suspects was Dr. George Hodel, an eccentric physician with a penchant for surrealist art. Years later, his son, Steve Hodel, alleged that his father was responsible for Elizabeth's death. However, detectives could never gather enough evidence to charge him. Hodel lived in a house designed by the renowned architect Lloyd Wright. The home, with its mysterious nooks and unconventional layout, was rumored to have been the site of many disturbing events. Police searched the property but found no conclusive evidence. Another suspect, Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner, was one of the last people to have contact with Elizabeth. Police scrutinized his connections, but again, no concrete evidence emerged. Mark claimed that Elizabeth often asked him for financial help, which might have led to tension between them. The legacy of the case. Although decades have passed since the events of that January, the case of the Black Dahlia continues to captivate the public. Countless books, films, and conspiracy theories have been produced. Some believe the killer was a serial murderer operating across states, while others think the crime resulted from a personal conflict. Detective Harry Hansen never gave up on the case, even after it was officially deemed unsolvable. He retired in 1951, still haunted by the question of who was responsible for Elizabeth Short's brutal murder. Elizabeth's memory lives on not only because of the gruesome nature of her death, but also because of her dreams. She became a symbol of young women who came to Los Angeles seeking fame but found only tragedy. Thank you for joining us today. The case of the Black Dahlia serves as a reminder of the dark side of human nature and how elusive the truth can be. If you have your own theories about this case, share them with us in the comments. Be sure to follow our podcast, as we'll explore more dark mysteries in upcoming episodes. Until next time, stay curious and remember, dark secrets never sleep.